Volkswagen is a German company, and in Germany, the union leadership, the union bosses, actually sit on the board of directors. So they've been pressuring Volkswagen to oppose the workers in Tennessee. When Volkswagen went to Tennessee, they got $500 million or more of taxpayer dollars with a promise that they wouldn't throw in and bring the UAW, United Auto Workers, the Detroit labor unions that have done so much damage to Detroit and other cities, to bring that to Tennessee. And now, of course, Volkswagen being pressured by its own unions in Germany to throw in with the union bosses and not allow workers to hear the truth about what unionization has done to the auto industry and auto workers and to unemployment in other cities. And they're doing this in an area paid for with U.S. tax dollars.
And you're
it's a real problem.
You're running, as I understand it, you're running, what, 13 billboards? That's what I read in the paper. You're also running some radio ads as well. All right. Maury Nicely, now, I want to ask you, can this be stopped? I want to ask you also, is this one of these ambush elections, which the National Labor Relations Board, which is now taken over completely by Soviet-style commissars, they want ambush elections. Is this one of them?
Well, we think it is. This is a situation where we were given, when they announced the election, 10 days until the election. And we've been scrambling to respond to the information that's been put out by the UAW. This is one of those unique situations, too, where VW has allowed the UAW to have unfettered access to its facilities by the UAW. And at the same time, other groups with competing viewpoints have not been allowed access. Supervisors have been told they cannot share their viewpoints or their experiences with their workers. And workers have been told when meeting with the UAW, you're not allowed to ask questions. So this has created a very unique situation, and we're trying to get out there to make sure that employees, team members at Volkswagen have all the information that they need so they can make a reasoned, informed choice and not one based upon the single viewpoint that is allowed into the facility.
Chris Kofins, is the Obama administration, is the president directly going to get involved in this? Now, he's got his National Labor Relations Board, as I said. Those commissars finally got through after a lot of court wrangling. I want to know if the president and the vice president are actually going to go down to Tennessee, because the governor of Tennessee and one of the senators is opposed to this.
I don't think the president and the vice president are going to get directly involved. I mean, what I think is clearly happening here, and I do find it somewhat amusing that you have, Grover and others basically saying to a company that is pretty successful when you're talking about Volkswagen, what their strategy should be in terms of dealing with their workers. I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be an election. That election is going to be decided by the workers in terms of whether they want a union or not. And what is, I think, happening here is Volkswagen has basically decided, okay, let's have a reasonable dialogue in terms of that process. It could have been very different, as we've seen in other situations, and the workers are going to end up deciding one way or another. But suggest that they're somehow going against their own corporate interests, I find somewhat bizarre. This is an incredibly successful company that has done really well for itself.